guys, and welcome to our review of season 3, episode 4 of The Mandalorian. We have some thoughts regarding the episode, and we're looking forward to talking about it.
Yep.
So, Jackson, how do you feel about this episode of The Mandalorian?
Personally, I loved it. I think it might be one of my favorites
Okay.
this season because obviously we haven't gotten that much.
Hmm.
But first episode, I liked little warm up, like seeing the Mandalorians and all that stuff. And obviously 3, we got a really good start to it. And then like in the middle, it was a little weird, but then the landing was pretty good. But episode 4, I think, is the best. It's got a bunch of action, all the Mandalorians. And we got to dig deep into this because there's so much to talk about in this episode.
Oh yeah, 100%.
100%.
This season so far has been a little bit of a roller coaster for me. I overall love this season, but out of the 3 seasons so far, I know this season is only halfway through, so it could change my mind real quick. But it's definitely my least favorite season so far, The Mandalorian. But this episode has been a great episode. Was a fantastic episode of The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few small issues regarding the episode, and I'm going to get through those first because
I probably know
those
what
are
they are.
just small little gripes regarding the episodes.
Yeah.
The episode. My first little gripe about the episode is the length of it. If you don't include the opening and the credits, it was like a 25-minute long episode.
Well, yeah,
it's a very short, especially after we come back from last week where it was like an
Yeah.
hour-long episode to this. I just like that. I mean, it's a small gripe, but like it's just been an issue for me.
I know people have a lot of hate about the last episode. I liked
Oh, I
it.
quite enjoyed last week. It felt like Andor to me.
Exactly. Like the middle of it, like I mean, the beginning was amazing. And the end. And I thought the middle it's obviously telling a story. It's building up to what season 3 is going to be like.
Yes, absolutely.
They're introducing the Mandalorians, obviously, like the newer ones and all that, and actually like building up a character now for the bigger Mandalorian. I forget his name. He's played by Jon Favreau too.
Yeah,
I forget his name.
Vizsla.
Yeah. But they're building like a kind of like a character development more for him, and I like to see that more with like other Mandalorians too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, before we kind of go into more of this episode, I just want to say, like, with the beginning and end of last week's episode, I feel like you could have taken those parts out, combined it with this episode, make it longer, and it would have fit really well.
Yeah,
I feel like that would have made more sense for an episode. And then we have our side adventure with the clone guy, but which was a great episode. I'm not going to discount the episode, but I just felt like it would have fit better if it was all together.
Yeah, I agree. I still liked it.
Now, I loved it. I loved last week, but I understand why people had an issue with it.
Yeah.
So, and then my second main gripe about the episode, which is a little nitpicky, but I just thought there were some major logic flaws in the writing of the episode.
Of the new one?
Yeah, of the episode 4 this week. I felt like there's a little bit of writing issues. Just like they are constantly getting attacked by this monster and they've really done nothing about it. Why don't they leave? Why don't they do something? And this has happened multiple times. The dragon velociraptor thing didn't eat the kid after 24 hours. I'm like, really?
That too.
And he gets spit out and there's nothing on him. Yeah. I'm like, it's just little nitpicky things that just kind of like bother me about the episode.
The fact like that they said it happened like multiple times.
Yeah.
And how like while they're training out in the open, like it feels like they didn't even like care at all. Like,
I know. Like, it was.
This probably gonna happen again, but we have to train. So.
Yeah, it was just little things like that throughout the episode that just kind of bothered me a little bit. But other than that, I felt like the episode was fantastic. My favorite part.
My rating, honestly, I'm gonna go into a rating for. I would probably give it like a 8 out of 10. Personally.
8 out of 10.
7.5. 7.5. 8 out of 10.
I would give it 6.7 to a 7 in that range,
Yeah.
which is still great,
Yeah.
but it's not like mind blowing fantastic. But I see where they're going with the season, and I'm loving where they're going with the season.
Mhm.
So going into the things I really loved about the episode, everything with Grogu was, oh,
That was
chef's
executed
kiss.
perfectly. Executed perfectly with
Yeah,
it.
executed perfectly. The way now he's being kind of transitioned into training, become a Mandalorian, which is
Mhm.
a great storyline that I can't wait to see continued into the show. The way the armor takes Grogu back and like builds him his own piece of
Big
Beskar.
giant chest piece
Yes,
right here.
and then what I loved, and this is kind of like going back to season one, where in season one, where Mando's getting his armor made, and he's seeing those flashbacks, and then in this
Yeah.
season or in this episode, the armor talks about how it shows you glimpses of the past. So as it's happening, you see those same kind of flashbacks, but
Mhm.
this time with Grogu and Order 66, which I'm sure you would really want to
Okay.
get into.
Now I actually want to talk about that Order 66 scene real quick.
Yeah, that's what I was leading up to. I was,
I
I
don't know
was
if you
tossed
know this,
laying it up for you.
but before I get to something I want to talk about with that, I really wish Anakin showed up through that door.
I don't mind it. I don't
I don't
mind
mind
it.
it
It
either,
keeps
but it
the
would
it
have been
keeps the
cool.
universe big. If
Yeah.
we keep seeing the same characters over and
But
over again, it
the
causes
the
problems.
the Jedi that came through the door, do you know who that actor is?
It's the guy that plays Jar Jar Binks.
Yes. I
That
thought that
is
was so
awesome. I
cool.
love the redemption story.
I love that, but that's so funny to me.
I
Like
just think it's hilarious and it's awesome. And
I
we're
saw
probably
him
going to
come
see
through the
more
door.
of
I was
them.
like, he looks really familiar. He looks really familiar, and he's Jar Jar freaking Binks.
Like that's crazy. Like it's just awesome, and I'm glad this guy's getting a redemption in the Star Wars universe because
Yeah,
he
'cause
got a lot of
they got
crap
a
for
lot of
that
hate.
character.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he's getting a little bit of more respect. But I love what they did there with Grogu and that flashback scene, um, really kind of showing the impact it's had on his life. And I'm sure we're going to see more of that in the future because at the
Oh,
very end it just shows
100%.
him flying off.
You can't just
Like
cut
how
off
did he
like
get
that.
lost? Like
Yeah,
there's
you.
still many questions that need to be asked.
Mm-hmm. Because like, how did he get like into Was it It wasn't Tatooine. It was
It was that random planet where that one little dude was from
Yeah, he died in
in the
season 1.
first episode of the season
I forget the planet. I
of
don't
the
know why I
show.
said Tatooine. Everywhere is Tatooine in Star Wars, but
Everywhere looks like Tatooine. It's always a climate planet. That's how every planet is in Star
yeah,
Wars.
but the clones, like I know like in the episode 1, 2, and 3 that clones were CGI, or 2 and
Yeah,
3.
these
That
are all
looks
practical.
so good. Like in the
Mm-hmm.
in Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and now this, the clones look so good in the
Mm-hmm.
actual armor
Oh
now.
yeah, they look
It's so
great.
shiny, like
Yeah.
it's so shiny. I love it. I still hate how the lightsabers look now in these new shows, because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's literally sticks that glow.
I know the lightsabers still don't look great, and
But like
I
it's
don't know why
legit
it
like
bothers
sticks
me
that
so much.
it's legit just sticks that glow, and they don't edit it
And
at
you
all.
can tell, it
Yeah.
like really takes you out of it. If you go back to like episode 1, 2, 3, even the original
In
trilogy, the
in the
lightsabers
early
look 10
in the
times
early
better.
2000s.
No, if you go back to the original trilogy in the late
Or
70s and
90,
80s,
80s, 70s.
those
Yeah,
lightsabers look better.
they do.
Like I just don't understand why we have to cheap out on the lightsabers. Doesn't It was the same thing that happened in Obi-Wan. They just look cheap.
Yeah, because when
But
they
I mean
because
that's different.
when they like clash in Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's like there's no like, like when like no, it doesn't even show a collision really. It's just like two
Yeah.
sticks rubbing on each other.
Yeah, but we're not here to talk about Obi-Wan. We're here to talk about Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So
So
anyway, going back.
after
Oh,
Order 66, the scene,
mm-hmm,
we get obviously the new Mandalorians
mm-hmm.
going to save the kid, which is actually apparently that dude's son, Vizsla.
Yeah,
Which I
I
kind
think
of
it's
thought
more of like a similar uh Din Djarin and Grogu kind of father-son relationship. I
yeah.
think it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. But I
I
really
think
like
that's what they were going with that.
yeah, I agree. I like Bo-Katan is leading the hunting party, and
Yes.
that she doesn't take off her helmet anymore. Like she's not like kind of like
Mm-hmm.
like before she was like,
Hmm.
oh, your creed is like lost that way. Like it's not something I want to be a part of. And now because she
Hmm.
hasn't taken off her helmet after she was redeemed and all that stuff, I
Yeah,
love
there's
that.
a lot of interesting storylines that can go with this
But,
because
and
in a
like she
way you
seems to
can
like it doesn't like seem to bother her that much anymore. If like
no, it
no.
doesn't. But at the same time, you can also think she's still like playing, like she isn't like fully invested. Like she
I
could go a completely different route, and it
I
makes
think
sense.
I think it's because she saw the mythosaur.
Yes, I agree too. And then the armor like kind of like shrugging that off, and then when
That made
she's
me
like,
so
when
mad.
Bo-Katan's like, I'm serious. I saw a mythosaur. Like
Yeah.
this is the way. Like there's such great story going on with Bo-Katan's character, and I'm very excited to see where that goes. I feel like what's gonna happen is she's gonna end up betraying them to try to like unite the clans, or so she can take control over leadership, and it's gonna backfire, and she's gonna feel like some sort of like, um, just like, what is it? What's the word? Uh, remorse, not remorse. Guilt. She's gonna feel some like
Mm.
guilt that
Yeah.
she's betraying these people because she's seen how these how this sect of the Mandalorian Kree is
With
very different than
with the
the one she grew
foundlings,
up
with
in.
the
And
foundlings and
so she's like
everything.
now learning to understand them
Yeah.
and like really grow to connect them. So when that if that does relationship does break, it's gonna be emotional for her and like it's gonna tear her. Like it's a very fascinating storyline and I'm very interested to see where it goes. So I'm
Another Mandalorian war.
another Mandalorian war, which I mean, we've never seen one on the big screen, but I want to see it. I
Mm.
want to see it.
We're
But
we're so close to Mandalorian like live action versus Jedi and all that stuff. Like
oh, it's crazy! It's
we got
crazy.
the
I
Clone
love it.
Wars, we got this now. We're gonna
Now
they
we just
should
need to go back to the old Republic.
they need to make a story about the one Mandalorian who actually became a Jedi.
What is it? Tar Vizsla?
Something like that.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure he
But
was
I
the one who
mean,
wielded the dark saber when he was a Jedi and stuff. And like
yes,
that's
yeah,
such a
that is
like,
for
they need to
sure.
make that like a live action movie or something.
I know that would be. I would go see
Stuff
that movie.
stuff let's just we'll talk about that some other time because I have so many ideas. But let's
Yeah, we have so many theories and ideas of what Star Wars should be and what it should look like. But overall, I thought this was a great episode. A few minor gripes here and there, but overall, a great episode. And I'm halfway through the season, and I'm now on the hump where I'm like, I'm ready to go. I'm
yeah.
ready to go. What do we got next?
Yeah. What would you
It's a
say?
slow build up to where we got to get to this, but I'm very excited to see where the rest of the season goes.
What would you say season 3 right now out of the 4 episodes? What is your favorite?
Ooh, oh man. Um,
Episode 1, it's kind of like a warm up.
mhm,
Him like showing up in the beginning, in the Mandalorian cove that they created,
mhm. I
and
think episode two was my favorite. I think episode two was my favorite.
oh, is that? Oh, yeah, that's when he goes to Mandalore.
Yes, I think that, and you see the mythosaur.
Ooh, that might be my favorite then too. I forgot
I think
about.
that's my favorite. I think that's my favorite because you get a lot of build up with Bo-Katan
And Grogu.
and all that. Yeah, and Grogu and all that. And that episode also showed how like Din isn't just like this super badass. Like he can lose, he can fail too.
Yeah,
And
like
I feel like this has been a lot of this season. I feel like
hmm,
this has been a lot of this season though.
yeah,
Den has really played kind of the side character, so I'm waiting for him to take the spotlight of the show.
yeah. Obviously, they're trying to like build up Bo-Katan's live action character more.
No, I
I love
agree. I
because
agree.
she is awesome. Clone
No,
Wars.
she is a great character. I love every scene she is in.
Mhm.
But I want Din Djarin to take over a little bit because it. I mean, I understand the show's called The Mandalorian. That could mean a lot of different things. It doesn't just mean Din, but like I want him to step back into the spotlight a little more for the rest of the
He
season. But
he
we'll
will.
we'll see. He
He'll
will.
pick
He
up in
will.
the next
I have
episode.
no doubt he will.
Yeah.
But I mean, great episode, and we'll see what happens next week.